So, so you were talking about emotions. In general, I think what most of us are looking for is to have a more pleasant experience of life. Would you agree? Yeah. And so that's whatever that looks like for you, that that seems to be what we're all looking for. And the way it looks to me is that when we begin to recognize that correlation of the thoughts we have in our mind and the feelings that are being created by those thoughts, and we recognize the difference between having a cluttered, stressed out, anxious thinking mind and a more settled, calm mind, um, the the sort of that spectrum, if you will, determines our experience of life. I mean, how many of you have, who here has tried to, uh, you know, solve a problem when you're all angry and stressed out and or highly anxious about it? Yeah, have you ever tried to solve a problem like that? How did it work out? Right, right. Yeah, it does, and it's really interesting because it seems like that's where we should be spending our time, right? It seems like I got to think harder. I got to think harder. And then we start going, I can't figure it out. I must be a no good shit. Why am I? Do I even have this problem? I shouldn't have this problem. And it's that negative feedback loop, right? And next thing you know, we're spinning down the drain. And of course, that creates a lot of stress in the body. That creates a lot of angst, and uh, it can show up in all different kinds of ways, even physical, right? It can manifest physically with migraines and back pains and joint pains and you name it, right? So always, 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 it goes back to the feeling and the thought connection, right? And it's at its basic level, this intervention process is really a relaxation process. It's helping us get out of the stress response, settle down, and calm the nervous system. And as we calm the nervous system, our mind begins to clear, right? And begins to settle. And it's in that space where we are more open to creativity, we're more open to insight, we're more open to a greater intelligence. You know, I think that a lot of times when we're making up a future, uh, like we have something that we need to do and we start to get really anxious about it, it's because we're making up a future scenario and we're severely underscoring our ability to handle things, right? Because we're basing it on past experiences, we're basing it on our feelings in that moment. But the whole reason, the whole fact that you guys are sitting right here means not only did you make it to this point in your life, but so did your ancestors, going all the way back to, the first woman in Africa, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you come from a long heritage of fucking survivors. Isn't that amazing? Like you were designed to survive and make it this far. So even when you're stressed, even when you're anxious, even when you're caught up, you can remember that you have the goods. You have the innate capacity to show up and take care and handle shit. That's how you got here. Make sense? Awesome.